Hello soil lovers, Regen Ray here, and welcome to NutriSoil. Today we are at Worm Festival. We're going to go and check out and see who's here with us today, so follow me.
Alright, if everyone could take a seat please.
Then we also have Amino Acids and Protein Hydrolysis. So that's your, the one we're going to take quite a deep dive into in the rest of this lecture. And so these are often extracted from plant or animal origin, and it's really taking things that are high in protein and digesting them, breaking them back down to these amino acids. We'll expand on that one. Then we have the macro and micro-algae, and this is really where the kelp and the seaweed type things, some of those micro-algae type, ferment type things as well. There's a lot of kind of, as I'm sure you know, a lot of algae brewing these days in terms of some of the sustainability stuff, in terms of using them to kind of capture carbon or make bio oils and these kinds of things as well. So there's all sorts of algae that can be used here.
A lot of the work that I've seen in the literature is all about plant focus. I could do a quick search and answer that question. It's not something that I've looked at too. As I said, its main claim to fame seems to be stimulating photosynthesis, so it may not be relevant.
A couple of world first for a woman, but for us, it was about that self-actualization thing. It was about understanding what it means to be the best that we could be, understanding what it means to have a connection to each other, and have a connection to one of the most wild, beautiful places on the planet.
That's my wife Anne. I call her Mrs. W on social media because it sounds a bit more formidable, sounds a bit tougher. So she's the other half of Walkie Farm. I'm a raw milk enthusiast. I like to get online and complain ad nauseum that I can't access raw, unadulterated, unpasteurised milk. I want it straight out of the teat. Yes, thank you. Can we get a clap for raw milk? Let's go. I'm a Bitcoin maxi, which means maximalist. I own a few local businesses, Cycle Station that I started with my family in 2011. We put a cafe inside the bike shop in 2014, and then 2019 we started Walkie Farm and subsequently Walkie Butchery. The pork industry in America was built on barrels of lard. What did people use for, fuel for their little lamps or to get their griddles oiled up at home? No one had access to canola oil or extra virgin pressed olive oil or anything like this. And when you process a body of beef, the amount of fat you get off it is quite minimal compared to a lard breed pig. You can feed this thing up for eight months and cut 2 inches of lard off the back of it, and you've got an amazing, healthy resource there. But you can't. It's not super accessible here.
Yeah, I think that's the whole trip, and that's what everyone's here for today.
So we've used your lamb on the spit. We had lamb ham on the grazing table, lamb salami on the grazing table, and we've used your flour for some of the cakes and slices. So you go to markets and direct market this?
Yeah, so we started doing the farmers markets at Wagga. So I realised I had a good product, and I was eating it myself at home and enjoying the health benefits of that, and I just wanted to bring it to the public and so more people can enjoy the health benefits. So we did the farmers markets every Thursday afternoon. Please come in.
Okay, well firstly thank you to Nicola for letting me be a part of this. So as you know, it is very much a family event here.
Merging families.
We grew up with Luke and we didn't understand why he was so interested in worms. And look where we are today. So when we sat down and discussed how this was all going to happen, she said, look, I really want you to use my farmers. They have amazing products. And she's bragged about them for years. So as a caterer, which I don't do very often, you would ring, say, border markets, you'd ring the butcher and go, I want this, and this. But this way we had to ring several farmers and say, can we have a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this? So
there's one thing when I come back, and I thought I'll put this in there to WormFest today. I got back on the farm, and there was one thing missing that was never talked about then, was the soil biology and the life in the soil. And these things, worms, we're at the WormFest, so I thought I've got to get my lovely worms And I was like, why don't we have worms in this soil? And I jumped the fence into Mum's garden, which is the same soil, different management, and there's worms there everywhere. And I got told it's because it's cropping paddocks. You don't get worms in cropping paddocks. And I said, well, but something's wrong there. And we've worked hard, and now we get these worms everywhere through all our cropping paddocks, and they're huge drivers to. The more of them we get, the less we have to do in inputs and things like that. Because I was like, we can make this stuff. And so then me and mate Fraser, who was here yesterday, we looked into it further and did a course to look at making our own. And first year off the bat, we went in and we made 20,000 litres in 1,000 litre shuttles. And went out across the farm and we did a third of the farm with that. And then the rest of the farm with the product we were buying. And we did skip rows every second row. We tissue tested the plants throughout the year for minerals and all that, and then we obviously did yield mapping to see.
As far as our cropping system, we're running a very typical system for around home time, press, wheel and burn. 2018 price drops, and there was also, I came home with no interest in running the piggery. Interesting what Jake's doing with the pasture stuff, but as far as running them in sheds, where all those ethics are heading, saw some headaches and I didn't want a part of it. And after much debate, after I'll touch on shortly, coming home from Queensland, I was pretty hell-bent that I wanted cattle and Dad wanted maggot taxis in sheep.
And this is the type of soil health that they were dealing with, and large, as you can see next to my foot there, huge clumps that they have to compete against to get a nice level before they were able to sow their crops. And for me, this just completely blew me away, because I was completely used to hearing people like Dr. Christine Jones talking about mineral soil disturbance, and the same goes with the flour. You guys, even when it shakes the flour, it's been freshly milled in the bucket, the way it flows is still in this mesmerising pattern it's never quite seen before.
The boomer generation has had canola oil and margarine in the fridge and the pantry the whole time, and at the moment, this isn't a really pleasant thing to say, but at the moment my grandparents are healthier than my parents.
You take the cover off, you'll get like a mycelium all over it, and it'll look like white fairy floss. Now, if it's got a few colours in it, that's not too bad. If it's got black in it, throw it out, do it again. And then to take it to storage, so we want to take to IMO2, and this will sit in the cupboard for the rest of your life. In 10 days you can add this to your solution at 1 to 1,000, 1 to 500. So they're very small amounts that we're utilising. So in my experiments at home, I'm just buying 20 litre drums of stuff. So, but yeah, you can go out and get bulk to do it.